وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. Continuing Kitaab At-Tawheed, 7:47 p.m. Sunday, September the 5th, 2019, which is now the 17th of Muharram, the 17th night of Muharram, the year 1440 after the Hijrah of Mustafa alayhi salatu wassalam. As we arrive to the last part of the chapter of the great Imam Shaykh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, where he put that some of this nation, meaning the followers of the Prophet ﷺ, will worship idols. We finished the tremendous hadith of Thawban radiallahu anh, where the Messenger of Allah informed of different calamities that will befall this ummah. And they are tremendous calamities. Calamities that are at the same time not only devastating but catastrophic. And affairs that eat and destroy the physicality, or if you want to say that destroy the lives of people. And a hadith also contains what will destroy what is worse than that, which is destruction of the hearts. And how is that in the hadith? Because the Prophet ﷺ informed in the narration of Thawban that he said that verily what I'm afraid for my ummah is al-a'immatul mudilleen. Al-a'immatul mudilleen. But if you look in the first part of the hadith, devastation took place from that aspect of what was done outwardly in regards to the death of people physically. In regards to certain affairs such as what, everyone? Such as a drought or a famine, or fighting breaking out amongst the ummah, or destruction of some of them, and taking each other as captives. That's in the physical aspect, the physical nature of the human beings. But the Prophet ﷺ in his narration informed of all different types of calamities that would take place, not only just affecting everyone as far as preservation of one's lives, or lives will be lost, but rather also something that is more in depth than that, which is the death of the hearts, which is the death of some of the hearts of the Muslims. Why? Because it says in the narration that what is the most of our fear upon my ummah is those a'imma mudilleen. A'imma mudilleen. Those a'imma, those imams. So what is the meaning of it here? We said it consists of three, right, everyone? We said the ubad, we said the worshippers, and second we said what? The rulers, or certain rulers, and certain evil scholars. The reason why we said that this meaning of this hadith is comprehensive for what we mentioned, for all three of these meanings, why? We said the ubad, and I wanted to add on to something else, or add on to what we mentioned, because the worshippers, they corrupt, the worshippers, especially the worshippers who are ignorant, corrupt the ibadah of the religion. They corrupt the ibadah of the religion. They corrupt the ibadah. Especially those worshippers who are just merely worshippers, like we said, without any ilm. You don't have knowledge. And we explained this from last class, that the ubad, just because they might manifest uprightness does not mean that they're knowledgeable. Just because one openly shows uprightness does not mean that they have knowledge. As a result of it, they can corrupt the worshippers, or the worship of the servants of Allah. They can corrupt their ibadah. The ulama as-su, the evil scholars, can corrupt the aqidah, the belief, and put to death by it the hearts. And the evil rulers can change the ahkam. The evil rulers, or the evil leaders, they will change the ahkam of the religion. They will change the rulings. So what is the corruption of what is the corruption of the Ubbad, the worshippers? Their corruption is changing the worship of Allah. Changing the worship of Allah. You'll find, as it even says in the explanation, even Shaykh Abdurrahman Hassan Ali Shaykh, he mentioned this. He said, for example, the Ubbad, if you look in the explanation, he said that some of them will say to their own companions or to people who follow them, he said, من كان له حاجة فيأتي إلى قبري فإني أقضيها له ولا خير في رجل يحجبه عن أصحابه ذراع من تراب. You'll find that these people who are from the mere worshippers, the Ubbad, the worshippers, that openly show uprightness as far as in their worship, they might do an abundance of fasting, or they might do an abundance of what we see, of iltizam, of compliance to the religion. But however, due to their lack of knowledge, you'll find that they corrupt the ibadah of Allah Ta'ala. Especially these people who are what? Ignorant and evil. For example, as one of them said, some of them said, because they were amazed at their worship, you'll find that their followers, and how many people do we know? The people become deceived by what they might see of a person of what they might profess openly of uprightness. They might be wearing a nice thobe with a long beard with henna in it and think all of a sudden he's knowledgeable, which isn't the case. And like we said, this happened during the time of the Khawarij. As the Prophet ﷺ, as we talked about, said that mentioned the reason of why the people would be fooled by them. He wasn't praising them in the hadith. He was mentioning characteristics of what will be the reason of why people will be deceived by them, which is that you will look down to your salat to their salat. And you will look down to your recitation of the Quran to theirs, meaning they do or perform an abundance of it. To the point where some of their heads, was fingers or hands were swollen. To the point where their hands were swollen, which was an indication of a lot of worship. And the Prophet ﷺ said that despite of them performing as worshippers, was shows that they were what? The Ubbad. Shows that they were what? People of worship. People of compliance in the religion. And despite of that, evil people. In which the Prophet ﷺ had clearly expressed that these people are the dogs of the hellfire due to some type of what? Discrepancy in their belief system in the foundation. But however, the Prophet ﷺ said that a lot of people will be deceived and beguiled by them due to what they openly show of uprightness and worship. And as a result of it, people will be fooled and they will fall into being from their followers. And this is what happened in the past with a lot of people from the deviant sects, especially from Amr ibn Ubaid, who was from the heads of the Mu'tazila. Amr ibn Ubaid was someone who also, that he displayed all types of uprightness in regards to performance of worship and uprightness and compliance with the religion. And despite of that, you'll find that Imam Ahmad said that he's an evil individual. He's an evil man, and to stay away from him. And the people asked, and they were astonished. So why Imam Ahmad will mention this? To say this about this man who shows so much type of tanassuk, so much type of worship and uprightness of what appears to be what a person would think that because of it, he's an upright individual. But however, the man changed the what? Especially even those from the Sufiya, how many of them we see having long beards down to their stomachs, having a turban, and all these other different types of signs that one would think that indicates some type of what? Soundness and uprightness in themselves. And they're upon something that's totally what? Corruptive. And something that's evil. And they changed the worship of Allah Ta'ala. To the point where AbdurRahman bin Hassan Ali Shaykh, he mentioned this here. Exactly what I just mentioned about the Sufis, he says about the worshippers who corrupt the ibadah, the worship of Allah, where he said, then one of them will say, let one of you who has a need, let him come to my grave. Let him come to my grave, and I will take care of that necessity for him. And there's no good in a man who is blocked from those who love him, or meaning from his companions or those who follow him, an arm span of dirt that come in between him and them. Or anything similar to that from this far off type of misguidance. And basically what he was calling his companions to worshiping him. Calling to the worship of himself besides Allah to be with the Allah. Them asking him, in which no one can take care of those different necessities, or removing that type of hardships and difficulties except Allah, except that he told his companions to direct that type of worship to himself, to that individual, to that man. So this just to summarize everything, just keep it concise, that the meaning of when the Prophet ﷺ said those evil a'imma is from those ubad. The ubad, why? Because the ubad, or those so-called worshippers, changed the ibad of Allah. From the Sufis and the likes of them, they changed the ibad of Allah. The evil corruptive ulama, those ulama as-su, those so-called scholars of evil, rather they are scholars of evil, who are so-called scholars in its name, what do they change? They change something else. They change the aqidah. They change the belief system. They change the belief system whereby it they put to death by it the hearts. They put to death by it the hearts. Isn't this type of corruption? As a matter of fact, let me finish what I'm saying. So the evil ulama as-su put death by it the hearts. You will not find this information in that book. Trust me. They'll put to death by it the hearts. The ulama as-su. And the third of those who are from the evil rulers, they will change the ahkam. They will change the ahkam, the rulings. They will change the rulings. What do I mean by that? What we mean by that is those from those rulers. You'll find of some of them who say that we believe in the book of Allah. We know that that's the speech of Allah. And we know that hadith is the hadith of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. However, we do not think that it's befitting to utilize those ahkam in these modern days times to solve modern day society's problems. We have to now seek out other solutions where we adopt other ideologies and other types of beliefs and ways from other societies and from the non-Muslims, where we now want to bring their ideas in of democracy and of communism and of liberalism and democracy. We need to bring and incorporate their type of ideas in our lands, because we believe, even though some of them might not say it, but what they're showing is, even though we believe the Quran is the speech of Allah and the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, but we do not think that we can utilize the Kitaab and Sunnah in order to cover or solve modern day society's problems. So we now need to bring in something else from other ideas from the non-Muslims and incorporate it, rather apply it in our lands, so it can so-called solve society's problems. So what do these type of rulers, what do they do? Except that they're changing what, everyone? The ahkam. They'll say, for example, instead of cutting of the hand, let's change it to them doing some type of hard labor while they're incarcerated. Or letting them sit, for example, for what is left of their life in jail until death comes to one of them. All this is changing what, everyone? The ahkam. All this type of corruption, if you want to summarize it, all this type of corruption, isn't all of this worse than what the hurub, or the type of wars or battles that may take place between the Muslims where they lose their lives? This is worse. The Prophet ﷺ talked about here specifically, this is worse than the bloodshed, because the wars only eat up the physicality or the lives of the people, of course, which is physical. But at the same time, that does not necessitate that their hearts are being put to death. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? Even though physically they're dead. But however, what was more important is that their hearts were still kept intact, where it was still in a sound state. And that's the reason why the Messenger of Allah mentioned this here, where the a'immatul mudillin, where those evil people, or those evil a'imma, they put to death the hearts of the people. Those ubad from the worshippers, so-called, changing the ibad of Allah puts to death what? The hearts of the people. And also pertaining to the aqa'id, that's self-explanatory, that's clear. Who are the evil, wicked scholars? They put to death the hearts of the believers, or the hearts of the people, which is worse than the physical. Isn't it not, everyone? The death of the hearts is worse than the actual death of the what? Of the physical body of a person. The death of the heart. Because ultimately the death, or the heart is what? Is the survival, ultimately, and one relies upon once he dies in the grave. Because that is what he's supposed to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon. Meeting Allah to be with ta'ala, while his heart is what? Is in a state of uprightness and soundness. However, those three people who the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned here in this narration, where he mentioned, it said, the a'immatul mudillin, where we said, the meaning of a'imma is comprehensive for those three meanings. Number one, we said the ubad because they changed their ibadah. Number two is those so-called evil scholars because they changed the what? The aqidah. And the evil a'imma from those heads or those leaders because they changed the ahkam. And that's worse than the death of the body, is the death of the heart. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Tayyib. So that's the reason why, like we said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that had more fear of his ummah, even them, than just merely what was also mentioned in the first part of the hadith of the different types of wars or the controversy, or from the different types of calamities such as a drought or famine that was mentioned in the first part. This part here is worse, even though those other affairs are evil. But however, that may come as a result of it, the death of the physical aspect of the human being. What's worse than that is that his death of his heart is what? Is worse than those affairs that were mentioned in the first part. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So that was what we were mentioning here in regards to this narration, in which the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had mentioned and said about all these different calamities, to the end of the hadith. So this is what we were mentioning, and then we want to continue the masail, so let's finish up the chapter, inshallah. Let's go to the end of it. Al-Rabi'ah, where we stopped at was what? Which matter? I think we stopped at the, towards the end, let's see it. No. Let's just review a little bit. Let's go back to the 8th. Number 8, where it says, Al-Ajab al-Ujab. It says what is extremely strange is that there will emerge people who will claim prophethood. خروج من يدعي النبوة مثل المختار ابن أبي عبيد مع تكلمه بالشهادتين. He says what is astonishing, extremely amazing, is the emergence of people who claim prophethood similar to Al-Mukhtar ibn Abi Ubaid. And we know that Mukhtar ibn Abi Ubaid was from those who claim prophethood. Now listen to what he says. He said, despite of him uttering and speaking the two testimonies. Why is he saying that? If you claim you're a prophet, why are you now saying La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah? Where it's a clear contradiction. So that's the reason why he's saying this. He said, despite of him uttering the shahadatain. So if you're saying La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and you're saying this, why do you now say that you're a prophet? Even though you what? Profess this and you what? Say the shahadatayn. Which shows that what, everyone? Tanaqudat wadiha. Absolute, clear what? Contradictions. If a person believes he's a prophet, why are you saying Muhammad Rasulullah? So you understand why he's mentioning this here? Why he's saying this statement here? Is it clear what I'm saying? He said, despite of him mentioning Muhammad Rasulullah, with tasrih, and also him clarifying that he is from this ummah. He's clarifying he's from this ummah, that the message of Allah is the truth and the Quran is the truth. And in it, from him also professing and saying that he's the seal of all prophets to the end of it. And despite of that, what does it say in the last line? And despite of him claiming that he believes this truly, this is an absolute clear contradiction. So a person cannot say all this and utter and firmly acknowledge this and believe it, and then hence at the same time he's saying, I am a prophet, and I am the final prophet to all humanity. Even though that all the people are what? Or that the people are supposed to follow Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This also is a rebuttal against the Sufis. In this statement is the same thing. You'll find that what they're doing of saying, we say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Right? طيب. From the extremists, from the Sufis, when they say that they reached a high level, where now they so-called say that all the duties of Islam has been what? Lifted from them. But you claim that you follow what? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we now ask, when the message of Allah, has there any been a day from the days when he was upon this earth, alayhi salatu wasalam, where he left off the worship, where he thought he reached a certain level, where all the duties of Islam have been raised and lifted off of him? But you say, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. You understand what I'm saying? So all of this is what has been mentioned is to show clear contradictions in these people, despite of them uttering the two testimonies. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So all these are what? Clear contradictions. And that's what he was talking about, Mukhtar ibn Abi Ubaid. And we said Mukhtar ibn Abi Ubaid was from those who claim prophethood, and he was a what? False prophet. In which the Prophet ﷺ clearly mentioned in authentic texts, when he talked about Hajjaj ibn Yusuf al-Thaqafi, and also Mukhtar ibn Abi Ubaid al-Thaqafi. Mukhtar thought he was a prophet, he was a Kitaab, and we know that Hajjaj ibn Yusuf al-Thaqafi was Mubir. He was the one that would shed the blood of anyone due to an adna shubha. Due to any type of justifiable cause that he would see, he would shed the blood and kill the individual. But both of them were from where? From Thaqif, in which the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said that there will come and emerge from Thaqif a Kitaab wa Mubir, a liar who is Mukhtar ibn Abi Ubaid, as you'll find al-ilm saying mentioned, and the second is a Mubir, the one who shed the blood and kill the lives of the Muslims due to an adna shubha, due to any type of justifiable cause that he would see to be befitting to kill one. So you find that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ had informed about them and that they were what? Evil individuals, especially Mukhtar ibn Abi Ubaid. What was the ninth? Huh? They vanished like a path. بشرب أن الحق لا يزول بالكلية. See, I understand what you're saying. Say it again. طيب, there will always be a bishara بأن الحق. So it says here that the glad tidings, after the Messenger of Allah ﷺ talked about all these calamities that would afflict the Muslim and befall the Muslims in so many aspects, whether it be in physical or in their lives or in their belief system. There will be all types of attempts for corruption of them, either of them losing their lives or them losing their belief, and their belief being tainted by some type of corrupted belief or conviction or ideology. And these are major calamities. People lose their lives and their hearts are being put to death, which is worse than when one loses his life. But the Prophet ﷺ at the end, as we said, he sealed it off by saying, Al-Bishara بأن الحق لا يزول بالكلية كما زال فيما مضى بل لا تزال هذه يعني ما تزال عليه هذه طائفة. He says the glad tidings that the truth will never go away totally. Just as it went away in those who passed. What are they talking about? He's talking about the previous shara'i', the previous legislations was given to the prophets before. As of today, what was given to them has been altered and changed and removed, and it's been abrogated. It's been changed. He says, for verily, the truth of what has been removed from the prophets and the messages from before, and what they came of their message has been abrogated. Rather, there will always be someone from the truth from this ummah who will be steadfast upon it and never what? Never leave it off. There will always be a group from them. Either, like we said, depending on the time and the place in which Allah has preordained, they could become plentiful or plenty in number in certain places, where they're small or few in number in others, or where some of them will become hidden due to the circumstances of the fitna that might take place in that particular land, due to them maybe being put to severe trials and tests from their leaders, such as happened with Imam Ahmad, where some of them even had to hide, to the end of it. But the point of what we want to say, or what we want to establish, is that there will always be a group from the ummah that will be steadfast upon what, everyone? The truth, regardless. So the 10th point, what do we say? Tafaddal. Jade, I don't think that's clear. Al-Ayatul Uzma. That they will always be what? Despite of, even if they're few in number, that they will not be harmed from anyone letting them down, or leaving them off, or not giving them aid when they need it, or by abandoning them, or the people who are close to them abandoning them, or treating them or mistreating them. As you'll find, that there's a lot of people these days who mistreat Ahl Sunnah. And he disrespects the people who's trying to disseminate the truth. Disrespect them, don't deem them to be anything. Or we don't have to listen to you. Who are you? To the end of the disrespect. And what's going to happen right now if Allah removes all this from you? Removes the masjid, remove the cause of the truth. What's going to happen? Are you going to propagate it? You understand? What's going to happen? So we say in this regard, you'll find that those who abandon them, or mistreat them, or leave them off, or what have you, they will not be what? They will not be what? Harmed whatsoever. Nor for those who oppose them, meaning from the outside enemies. So I want everyone to benefit from this narration, that the Prophet ﷺ, when he said this narration here, he's talking about they will not be harmed even from people who might abandon them, even though they might be from their own ranks, that might become weak. That might become weak or influenced due to some type of fitna that might take place. That might affect even the closest friend to you, who might turn his back on you. And even though this might be the case, they still will not be harmed. So khudlan is talking about someone who's from you. Where mukhalafa, those who oppose them, of course, is also talking about those who's clearly from their enemies outside. So it's comprehensive for both. Those who might be from your ranks, or those who's the outside enemy that clearly opposes you. That even though this might be the case, doesn't matter. Whether they be from your own friend, or someone close to you, or someone outside, if they remain steadfast upon what's correct, they will not be harmed. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? So the hadith is comprehensive for both meanings. The second, or the 11th, what does it say? أَنَ ذَلِكَ الشَّرْطِ إِلَى قِيَامِ السَّاعَةِ. That condition will remain to the day of resurrection. Meaning what, everyone? Meaning that there will be the people from the truth, they will always remain. But they will leave. Eventually they will leave. There will come a time on the earth where there will not be anyone of the truth left. There will not be any Tawheed left. There will not be any monotheism. The earth will be filled with polytheism. And will be filled with disbelief. And the Quran will be raised. And the ahadith, all of it will be removed. All of these affairs of good, what we see now, will be removed. The Quran, the authentic sunnah, the people of the truth that are trying to implement it, all will be what? taken up as it comes in the Athar of what the great Imam Sheikh Hamoud At-Tawheed that he put in his book called Ithaf al-Jama'ah fi Ishrat al-Sa'ah, which is a tremendous treatise that he authored, rahimahullah, Sheikh Hamoud At-Tawheed, that he mentioned and said there will come a night in which the Quran will be raised. It will be raised and taken off the earth, be removed in one night. It will be removed from the hearts of the men who memorized it. It will be removed and nothing will be left on this earth except misguidance and darkness. And it will go to polytheism and disbelief, and shyness will be removed, and the people of the truth will be gone. Due to the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send a wind that will emanate from Yemen, and it will take the souls of all the believers, and it will not be left of anyone from amongst them except the most evil of creation and the wicked of them. And upon them that hour will be established. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So that wind that emanates from Yemen will come and it will take the souls of every believer. تَقْبِضُ رُوحَ كُلِّ مُؤْمِنٍ. It will take the soul of every believer. And it will take them, remove their soul, and upon that, the day of resurrection will be established upon the most wicked of creation. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So this affair, when the Prophet ﷺ said, لا تزال طائفة من أمتي على الحق منصورة, there will never cease to be a group of my ummah that will be upon the truth victorious or given or granted victory. That's only to a certain time, meaning up to when or until the day of resurrection is about to be established. That's when they will be what? Removed. That's when they'll be gone. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So it's up to a certain point in time. But until then, like we said, right now, walillahi alhamd, still there are people of the truth that remains. But there will come a certain point in time where all of them will be what? All of them will be gone. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So this is the condition as we talked about, that it will stay like this until the establishment of the day of resurrection. طيب. ثانية عشرة. The 12th. Oh, sorry. Father Ahmed. No, the 12th. Number 12. You reading too? Yeah, I know it's long. But just read the first line from the 12th. Just read the first one. Jayyid. From the different signs, from the signs of Nubuwah. So we establish and extract from this, number one, these are, they say magnificent, tremendous signs. I don't know if it's magnificent. Some of them are tremendous, just tremendous, magnificent. But tremendous signs. Major signs. What is he talking about here? He's talking about here these are indications of the Nubuwah. The Nubuwah, or the Sidq Nubuwah. The veracity or the truthfulness of the message of Allah being a prophet. That everything that the message of Allah informed, all of them happened. Everything happened. And it's still happening. Everything you can look at this hadith, every single last one of them what took place. And that is from the books in which you'll find that Ahl-Ilm have authored, where they brought these type of narrations to show that he was truly a prophet. What they call books called Dala'il al-Nubuwah. From them, the great Imam al-Bayhaqi authored a book in Dala'il al-Nubuwah. It was checked by the great Imam Sheikh Muqbil. I have it in my library. May Allah allow me to revive my library. My library, woo. Anyway, it's a book called by it's a book called Dala'il al-Nubuwah by the great Imam al-Bayhaqi, where he brings all the different ahadith, clearly showing that the message of Allah was a prophet of Allah. And he brings all the narrations proving it and establishing that fact. From that is these narrations here, and hundreds of other ones that clearly establish that the message of Allah, what he informed, exactly what took place. How many narrations we know the Prophet ﷺ talked about that he talked about in the narration about the car. There's authentic narration of Imam Ahmed, The Prophet ﷺ described, or what you'll find the Al-Ilm say, that's the description of what we see of the car of today. You'll find this narration where the Prophet ﷺ said there'll be a time where I'll see women that's clothed, but they're still naked. He said that 1,441 years ago. Almost 1,400, rather before that, 1,441 years ago. He said that I've seen two kinds of people. He says that they will not smell the fragrance of paradise, even though it can be smelled from a distance or a far distance, in which he said that I've seen women who were clothed, but they were still naked. They still were displaying their adornments, even though they were what? Wearing clothes. Isn't this not what we see as soon as you walk out the door of this masjid? Do you not see women who's now clothed, but is still showing their what? Private parts. You can see it clearly. All these are different narrations with the Prophet ﷺ to show that he truly was a prophet of Allah to be with Allah. And there's the narrations that come more than that. More and more about there will come a day where what? There will be huge buildings, huge tall buildings in its structure. They will be close together. There will be marketplaces that will be brought close together. To the end of the narrations. You could go on and on and on and on and on. Which the Messenger of Allah informed. In which we see taking place of some of the signs that have occurred. And there's more signs to come. So you find that the Messenger of Allah from these books called Dala'il al-Nubuwah, some of them were authored by the great Imam al-Bayhaqi. And the great Imam Sheikh Muqbil ibn Hadi al-Wadi'i, check the book. There's another book by the great Imam Abu Nu'aym al-Asbahani, where he authored a book called Dala'il al-Nubuwah. He has a book called Dala'il al-Nubuwah by Abu Nu'aym al-Asbahani, rahimahullah. Abu Nu'aym al-Asbahani wrote also a book called Dala'il al-Nubuwah, the signs of prophethood. The signs or the indications of prophethood. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. So what are these signs now? These signs that indicate the Messenger of Allah being a prophet. So listen what it goes on to say. Now is a little bit of subtopics or whatever under that particular matter. Listen what it says. منها إخباره بأن الله زوى له المشارق والمغارب وأخبر بمعنى ذلك فوقع كما أخبر بخلاف الجنوب والشمال. الله أكبر. The prophets from those signs is that the Messenger of Allah informing that Allah gathered the east and the west for him. And he informed the meaning of that, meaning that what will take place or will occur is exactly what he informed, which is the spreading of the dominion or the kingdom of his ummah. In contrast, he said, to the south and the north. For the kingdom of, or the Islam that is spread more in the distance of the west and the east than the north and the south. There was some type of spread of Islam, but if you look on the map how it spread, it was more from the what? More of the distance of the east and the west more than the north and the south. Even though some of the lands of the south became occupied by Islam, but not like the east and the west. Like I said, you're going from one side of the continent of Europe all the way up to the other side of Asia near China. That's a huge amount of land in which Islam spread. Where we talked about where the Muslims ruled Spain. They used to rule it, especially the southern part, they used to rule Spain until the relics and the different remnants you will still see to this day that they're trying to still destroy. If you look into the research, the masajid, they used to be there in Spain. And they're removing it to this day, and they're trying to erase any type of Islamic heritage that was there. They're trying to erase it and eradicate it, wipe it totally out. The point of the matter is that the Muslims used to rule Spain. All the way up to where now, if you look from Europe, all the way up to Asia, all the way up to near China, Islam spread it. All the way up to now America, all the way up to Mexico, and it's still spreading. But the Prophet ﷺ informed that this will be what? Islam will spread in this way more than the distance of the north and the south. The Messenger of Allah, when he informed, didn't this not take place? It happened. It happened. The second part, it says, the Messenger of Allah informing he said that the treasures of the wealth of Persia and Rome will be brought to the Muslims. It will be brought to the Muslims. He says, "U'titu al-kanzayn," I was given 2 treasures. But here, meaning here, it says, I've been given, meaning that I've been given, that the meaning of it is it time for this one? Because I know that Delaware is usually, it's 27 to Can you call for me? Who? He's out there? He's calling it? Okay. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Sure. Hassan, wake up, brother. I only slept 4 hours today. Wake up. You guys are supposed to be younger than me. And the day before that, I think I slept 4 more, and I did weights, and I did push-ups and pull-ups. Get you guys. Let's put some water on your face. We got to get him some electrolyte powder. مر بهذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آتي محمود الصيد الفضيل وبعد. You need a chair. What happened to a chair today? No more chairs. No more chairs today. طيب. He needs it. I don't need no more positions how you guys sit, which is considered a pillow to bring sleep. Especially when you sit like this. That's just calling sleep to come to you. Just طيب. So we say, the Prophet ﷺ said, وَأُعْطِيتُ الْكَنْزَيْنِ, I've been given 2 treasures. Does that literally mean that he was given 2 treasures? Here. Does that mean he was given 2 treasures for him to spend, alayhi salatu wasalam? Certain people might think, see, he's given 2 treasures. We want dunya, he wants worldly things. No, the Prophet ﷺ wasn't talking about that. Because we know that the message of Allah, or the treasures of Persia and Rome did not come to the Muslims until after his death. Which happened during the Khilafah when Ibn al-Khattab. That's when the kingdoms of Rome and Persia collapsed. And their treasures were brought to the Muslims. Was it brought to them so they can brag about it? Or they can see we got a whole bunch of wealth? No. you'll find that the treasures, when they were bought, they were spent for the benefits of Islam and in the cause of Allah. You understand, everyone? They were bought to the Muslims in order for it could be utilized for the benefit of Islam and in the Muslims and the spreading of it. So it wasn't given to a leader in order to, for out of greed, and I have a whole bunch of wealth and money. That's not the meaning of the hadith. The meaning of hadith is that the wealth will be brought to the Muslims and Islam will spread and polytheism will be eradicated and the concepts of ideology will be what? Removed from the earth in certain kingdoms that have adopted it, from Rome and Persia. They will collapse, and then the treasures will be brought to the Muslims, and the wealth will be spent in the cause of Allah. The treasures and the wealth will be spent in the cause of Allah. So that's the meaning of the hadith. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So no one would say, see, here in this hadith, someone say, see, Muhammad was greedy, he wanted money. And that's not their case. That's not the meaning of the hadith. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? I've been given treasures. Because in essence, to show where knowledge is very important. The treasures of these two kingdoms were not given until after his death. It was brought to the Muslims. So he's talking about here that it would be brought and given to the Muslims. In order for what? To be spent in the cause of Allah. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear what I'm saying? طيب. The next subtopic under the final one, it says, وَإِخْبَارُهُ بِإِجَابَةِ دَعْوَتِهِ لِأُمَّتِهِ فِي الْإِثْنَتَيْنِ. Him informing of how his dua or his supplication was answered for his ummah in two affairs, but one was denied. What was the first one, everyone? Huh? Say again? Ahsant. That would not be eradicated or overcome by drought or famine. That was the first part. That was answered. Meaning that all of the Muslims will not be wiped out by what? By these calamities, such as a drought or a famine. But it can happen to a group of them where others are protected or others are excused from this type of test. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Because it says clearly, bi'amma, where it will eradicate all of them. But that's not the case. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered the first supplication for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The second one was what, everyone? That the enemies would not come out from other than themselves. That would not be dominated or given power over the Muslims. طيب. Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answer that? Yes, he did. Ahsan. He did answer it. But however, it was due to what? With a condition. But certain people that upheld, or that people who observed this condition, were not tested with this test. But those who did not fulfill it were tested where the outside enemies came in and destroyed them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did answer the second. He did. He said, فَverily أَنَا أَعْطَيْتُكَ لِأُمَّتِكَ أَنْ لَا أُهْلِكَهُمْ بِسَنَةِ بِعَمَى وَأَنْ لَا أُسَلِّطَ عَلَيْهِمْ عَدُوًا مِنْ سِوَى أَنفُسِهِمْ فَيَسْتَبِيحَ بَيْضَتَهُمْ. And I have granted to you, O Muhammad, that I will not give power to an enemy which would dominate, or power to an enemy other than yourselves that would dominate or overpower them or destroy them or what have you. Right, everyone? طيب. Now it says here he was not granted the what? The third. What's the third? Hold on. You want to answer? I'm sorry. Tfadal. Jayid. That until they start destroying one another and taking others as captives, as we know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not grant this because this has happened amongst the ummah. You'll find today what happened with Uthman ibn Affan. What happened with Uthman ibn Affan was what, everyone? Where the sword was unleashed against him until the bloodshed started, and it will continue all the way up to the day of resurrection. Due to this what? Due to this type of corruption. طيب. That also what happened. The other one is what, everyone? وَإِخْبَارُهُ بِوُقُوعِ السَّيْفِ وَأَنَّهُ لَا يَرْفَعُ إِذَا وَقَعَ. Him informing about how the sword will be unleashed upon his ummah and it will not be raised if it happens. And it did happen. Right, everyone? It started with the death of the great Sahabi, the great Khalifa al-Rashid, the great Khalifa al-Rashid, the Nurayn, the great man who was the best of all creation after the death of Abu Bakr and Umar, who was the best of walking on this earth, who was Uthman al-Affan, of course the other Sahaba, but he was considered the most virtuous and greatest of them because he was the Khalifa al-Rashid, he was the third. So due to the fact when it happened, when that sword was unleashed against him, radiallahu anhu Allah, that's when a lot of the catastrophe started really happening amongst the Muslims due to the corruption of what took place from within. So you find what happened, that the sword would not be raised until the day of resurrection. And it has happened just as he informed. The Prophet ﷺ, exactly how he informed, is still taking place amongst the Muslims. طيب. The next one, إخباره بظهور المتنبئين في هذه الأمة. Him informing about the appearance of fake prophets that will come amongst this ummah. And that has happened and is still happening. Don't we not hear Farrakhan to this day, who claims he's a prophet? And people think that he's a prophet. People who follow him. Isn't he now saying he's a prophet of Allah? If you have heard this, and I'm sure people have heard this, he's a prophet of Allah. Say he's a prophet of Allah, they call him minister at the same time. How is he a prophet of Allah and using the Bible and the Quran and all other nonsense? طيب. The last part is of him informing that there will always be a what? A sect that is victorious. A victorious sect. Which we know is clearly established that they still what? Exist to this day, walhamdulillah. طيب. Let's move to the next chapter, everyone. We only got 5 minutes, we got to pray. There's 2 more? That's not in my book. Wow. There must be a misprint of mine. Read it for me, Qurban. Oh, no, he already read it. Just go ahead, just read it for me again. Restricting the fear of this ummah to misguided leaders. We already talked about that, right? Why these three, or why these these leaders, from the worshippers, the evil, wicked scholars, and those rulers who adopt outside ideologies from the non-Muslims and try to incorporate it in the Muslim lands by replacing the ahkam of Allah with al-qawaneen al-wada'iyah, with the man-made laws, is from the changing of what? Of the rulings in regards to Islam, which is also very dangerous. And then binding upon the people to practice them and implement them and believe that they are better, or we can say equal to the ahkam of Allah, equal to the ahkam of Allah, or better than that, then that is absolute what? Kufr bawah. That's absolute what? Clear disbelief. Is it clear, everyone? For those rulers that do this, that change the ahkam, that is also something what? Extremely dangerous. And by it, the Muslims will be misled. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear? So the ubad, the worshippers, the ignorant, from amongst those who do an abundance of worship, they change the what? The ibadah. Right, everyone, as we said. The evil, wicked scholars, they change the what? The aqa'id. They change the belief system. And the third, from those rulers, they change the ahkam. The rulings or the boundaries that have been what? Set down by Allah, by them exchanging it, by those man-made laws and putting in it its place instead of the ahkam of Allah or the legislations of Allah. Them removing that and exchanging it with these man-made laws is them changing the ahkam, which is extremely dangerous. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Not only does it cause corruption amongst human beings, but it also causes corruption in the aspect of worship as far as the legislation of Allah. Because a lot of people think it's just about ibadah, of what we know is prayer and fasting and zakah, and a lot of people ignore the aspect of legislation, forgetting that is also an aspect of worship where Allah has to be unified in. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? A lot of people forget that aspect. I think it's just for prayer. No, nobody's making sujood to other than Allah. And I keep hearing, I don't know why, and I'm going to have to take time. I don't know why there's Muslims out there that still believe that zodiac signs is correct. I keep getting informed about this. They still believe, and I'm still finding that shows that you have not read Kitaab At-Tawheed, you have not studied, or you have not comprehended what you have read. I keep being informed about this. Are you serious? You believe zodiac signs? And that they have some effect over your life? A'udhu billah. You believe the stars and the way they're positioned in the sky has some type of effect over your life? Wow. If that's the case, that would make me want to now start Kitaab At-Tawheed over again. If this is the case, this is disgraceful. You believe the zodiac sign? Prophet ﷺ made it clear. Well, matter of fact, we're going to cover it. Come to the lessons are going to come. He said that Allah Ta'ala mentioned it, said, أصبح من عبادي مؤمن بي وكافر. فأما الذي قال بأن مطرنا بنوء فلان أو بنوء فلان أو بنوء كذا فذلك مؤمن كافر بي مؤمن بالكوكب. فأما الذي قال مطرنا بفضل الله ورحمته فذلك مؤمن بي كافر بالكوكب. Clear. The Prophet ﷺ made it clear. There came upon the morning from my servants who's a believer in me and a disbeliever. As for the one who said that this such and such star, that rain will take place, meaning some type of good, because it can be generalized for any type of good, whether it be your life individually or generally for the people, that the rain came down by such and such star or due to such and such star. For verily that is the disbeliever in me and the disbeliever in me and the believer in the star. And as for the one who said that we've been given rain due to Allah and His mercy, it's been sent down, that is the believer in me and disbeliever in the star. And also the Prophet with Kitaab As-Sadusi mentioned that I thought about these different types of what? Functions of the stars. He gave it clearly, or what the Sahaba only utilized the stars for. It was only used for three affairs. Number one, it was utilized for direction. Number two, decoration of the heavens. And number three, to shoot down the shayateen. No more, no less. It says clearly in the narration that whoever goes beyond that, they have transgressed the bounds and they have burdened themselves with a knowledge they have nothing of an affair of. They have burdened themselves of an affair that they have no knowledge of. Clear. That's all the stars' their usage is for us. No more, no less. Guidance for the travelers. Directions. Shooting down the shayateen. Shooting down the devils. And also what? And decoration for the heavens. No more, no less. It was not meant for you to judge based upon the position of it that this such and such is going to happen in my life. Or that I'm going to have a good love life this month. Or that I'm going to have a bad business this month. Or that I'm going to be sick this week. Or I'm going to be sick next month. Or I'm going to have a terrible love life the next month. Clear as the sun in the sky. And I just said this off the top of my head. Why? Because a little bit of knowledge we gained from Kitaab At-Tawheed. Clear, everyone. This is disgraceful. Muslims walking around, niqab, women wearing niqab, and a brother wearing a thobe, and you believe in that you're a Libra, and that you're going to have a good love life this month? Where's the Tawheed of Allah? It's totally, you took it and threw it in the garbage. Because you believe solely your heart is attached to Allah, ultimately. It's not attached to what He created. It's clear. You attach your heart to something that's created, Allah will entrust you to it. It's clearly said in Kitaab At-Tawheed. Anything your heart is attached to other than Allah, especially in the affairs of worship, your heart is attached to it, Allah will entrust you to it. And you will be let down and you will be humiliated. And this keeps reaching me. I don't know why. What in the world? What's going on? You believe in zodiac signs? It's like you just took the whole mission of why the Prophet ﷺ came in the first place, of what the whole religion established upon, and you threw it in the garbage. Forget all the other ahadith follow behind that foundation. Once that's destroyed, everything else of what fiqh, wudu, siyam, Ramadan has no significance. None. No matter if you stayed away from riba, No matter if you pay zakat, name any type of good, no matter what you done. I grow my beard, I wore the best garment and wearing what I was supposed to look Muslim, and I ate halal meat all night and day. If you didn't establish that, all that is meaningless. You understand, everyone? Your salat is meaningless. You eat halal meat and stay away from haram meat, all these other things that everybody want to talk about. You growing your beard and wearing it above your ankles. The woman wearing overhead abaya all the way down to her foot till you don't see an eye from her face. And you still believe in that zodiac signs? All that's meaningless. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Sheesh. Oh, what's the one last one? I'm sorry. Then we'll stop. Oh, so I guess we'll start the next lesson that's coming is very beneficial. طيب تفضل. I'm sorry. There's emphasis on the meaning of worshiping idols. The thing that he left off here was the whole reason why he put all this in the chapter in the first place. He left it at the bottom. So the whole why. So now flip to the title of the chapter. What's it say, everyone? What's it say is the title? The chapter that no. Some of this ummah is going to worship idols. What does it say here? It says some of this ummah will worship. Some of this ummah will worship idols. Not the new one yet. Some of it was still in the old one. I said he ended the chapter off. Jade. But it said that some of his ummah will worship idols. So that one benefit is connected to the title of why he put these narration or this long narration in the title or in the chapter in the first place. Is it clear, everyone? There be from his ummah who will worship idols. That's also very what this disgrace, and that exactly goes to what I just said now. People believing that zodiac signs, that last part what the sheikh said applies to you. There will be some of my ummah that will worship idols. You believing that zodiac signs is a form of worshiping idols. Is it clear? Or what they call it? Fortune cookies. Muslims? You see Muslims actually open a fortune cookie and read it? In this masjid? In Delaware? A'udhu billah. A lot of women read fortune cookies. I mean, they open up a fortune cookie. A'udhu billah. A'udhu billah min ash-shaytanir rajim. Sister, then that's not sad. If that's the case, like I told you, sister, you can wear the greatest jilbab that has 7 layers where you don't see any aspect of your skin. And if you believe in that, what you're doing has no significance. Is it clear what I'm saying? You have totally lost the concept of why you're wearing that overgarment in the first place. Because your heart is attached to some star instead of Allah. Of something of a fortune cookie, of a piece of paper that's wrapped in the form of a cookie, and you believe in it, that has some type of what? Some significance or domination or influence over your life. That is absolutely disgraceful. It's sad to say in this community, then you wonder why I focus on, now everyone you see why I focus on Tawheed so much. This is the reason. Everybody, you talk about Tawheed, oh, you're looking in the zodiac signs and you wonder why I'm talking about Tawheed all the time. It's sad. That was been formed to me through Philadelphia, through a lot of people. I said, sisters or people still believe in zodiac signs and they Muslim? They said, yeah, they still believe in it. Still talking about it. I'm a Libra, I'm a Capricorn. I'm going to have a beautiful love life this month. My love life will be better this month. And based upon maybe it's not going to look so good for me next month because the star will be in this position. Are you serious? Warn the people against that. I'll say it publicly. Warn the people against anyone who it tells them to download an app in regards to that. Warn the people against them. Warn the people against these apps. Warn the people being partaking in anything pertaining to these matters. These matters are what the prophets came to make war with. The prophets and the messengers unanimously came to make war with these ideologies. So the people can have a good life in this world and the hereafter, because their hearts is attached to Allah instead of something that Allah created. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So we got to pray. Father. I take shit in the class all the time. They didn't listen to class. I don't believe it. You serious? That means that they must not listen to none of my classes. I've been teaching Kitaab At-Tawheed for 2 years. I teach 2 books in Aqeedah, At-Tawheed, Usul Al-Thalatha. Obviously, they probably don't listen to any of them. Tafadal. All of it will be removed, generally. From the hearts and from the pages, everything will be removed. You don't hear me saying it in the khutbah, so you want me... Now, if you want, then I've done this before. I went through Kitaab At-Tawheed in the khutbah for 2 years straight. And I've done it before. And so I finished the whole book. Now, if you guys are going to force me to do this, I will do it. No, I did it in Philadelphia. I gave durus in the khutbah for Kitaab At-Tawheed from the beginning to the end. Now, if you guys are going to force me to do it, I will do it. So I finished it in the khutbah. Because that's what it's going to be forced me to do based upon this nonsense I heard. SubhanAllah, it's like you would think that me teaching 2 books in Aqeedah would be enough. And that's the majority of my lessons here in the masjid. So that means I got to put some more efforts in this affair. Sad. At any rate, I'll try to figure it out later. Because we don't want to press the people. They got to pray and tend to their affairs. Anything else about the lesson? Father Bilal. Say it again. I can't hear you. What did you say? All the classes are recorded. All of them. Hmm? Oh, no. That's turned off. It's turned off. I was about to say. A lot of these people think Tawheed is 2 things we facing in this community. Everybody's a know-it-all. I don't need to listen to him. And number two, I feel that family affairs are more important than Tawheed. That's a lot of people's. That's their mentality. That too. Yeah, man. But those are the main reasons what prevents people from listening to these type of classes. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. We'll stop here. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.